How's everyone doing? As you can tell, I'm still learning how to do the YouTube thing. But the thing is that I looked up, I felt like a moron today. I tried to look up how to make intros. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to make an intro. So I went to one of those sites called Render Me or whatever it's called and stuff and tried to make an intro. But then I realized one thing. Before I start making intros, I gotta learn to make content. Every day is a process of learning. And I was looking at a lot of AuthorTube. You know, the AuthorTube videos in which they talk about how to write, how to formulate strategies, how to plot garden, how to do word count, how to do a whole variety of things. But you know the one thing that came down to it? I learned 3 things. 1, making a video showing you how to write. It's not that easy. Because 1, you got to give this content to people without revealing spoilers in your writing. So how are you supposed to type without revealing spoilers? And I don't know if you're just like me. I don't like looking at a video of 5 minutes of someone speed typing. So that's the first problem I'm dealing with. Second problem is figure out genre. But then after watching a few videos, watching some Brandon Sanderson videos, watching some various author videos, you know, actual authors, not just author tubers, but people that actually wrote, they said go with what you know. I read a lot of sci-fi, I read a lot of fantasy. So I'm probably going to stick with those genres for now until I get familiar with the other genres like historical fiction and whatnot. But for now, I feel like my strengths would be in fantasy and sci-fi, which is probably giving me a little bit more flexibility in terms of story development. I then realized the next issue. Since in school, I basically just wrote research papers. So how do I transition that to writing? And everybody has their own variety of opinions. And I'm thinking, what are their opinions in reference to novels, novellas, short stories? What do you write? And I realized one thing. A lot of authors said, in varying degrees of opinions, that the best way to write is to write a short story. A short story will teach you the basic process of a beginning, middle, and end without all the fluff. That's basically how it boiled down to. So they're saying, write a short story, write 2 short stories. Get in the habit of writing a short story, at least 1 a week, before you even approach writing novels. Because if you don't understand the basic structure of writing 1 story, how are you going to write 2? How are you going to write 3? How are you going to write 4? How are you going to even combine all that stuff? So a lot of videos I watched today. So basically, we're going to stick with sci-fi genre, fantasy genre, short story for now, in which I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot and probably hit my head against a wall, because from what I'm hearing, short stories aren't good if you have no experience doing so. So we're going to focus on that for now. How I'm going to make the videos to show you what I'm doing, I'm probably going to create a process in which we discuss the process of what I'm going to cover, what I'm going to do. I don't really feel like doing a speed video of me doing this, pretending to type, and then say, oh, let me blur this out, because that does nothing. But I'm going to go through the process of what I'm going through in developing the story and the issues I'm encountering in developing the stories. I think that's the best way to approach it. Give you a little bit of animated me, less speed typing, more let's focus on creating the story from beginning, middle, and end. And then at the end of the video, I'll have a link to the story. Exactly. Because I notice a lot of author tubers talk about writing, but then you never see any of their stories. It's like, are you serious? Show me a story. You did all of this, but I see no story. So I'm going to attempt to do the short stories, do the videos, and publish them around the same time, so you can see the process of me developing the story, but then me posting the story. I am not a writer. As I told you in previous videos, I am developing my voice. And that's what I'm hoping to do, is to develop my voice in writing to the point that it gets better. First story will be crap, second story will be crap, probably the 20th story will be crap. But eventually it'll develop into something bigger than what it is and better than what it is. So we're going to go through the process together of how I'm going to develop stories as I'm developing them and as I'm writing them. And hopefully at the end of the video, in the comments or whatnot, or in the description, I will put links to the story as they're finished. So we can work hand in hand in this. I'm still getting used to making videos, so these are a little rough. I'm filming them on my phone. I have no fancy editing. I have no intro music. I have no intermissions, or I'm not an audio engineer. I don't have a crew of people. It's just me, my laptop, working to create something of somewhat content. And hopefully you're following me on this journey as I develop stuff. I already came up with a story for a novel, but I don't want to approach the novel yet until I can get the process of writing set. If I can learn to write, I can learn to develop a story properly, then eventually I'll approach the novel. That's the best I can do right now, because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot and destroy a novel before it's even born. But there's also one common thing I found out. Guess what I found out? Most authors will agree, just do word dumps. When I say do word dumps, it literally means just keep writing and keep writing. Don't matter if it makes sense or not. Look at it at the end, but just get the first draft done. That means vomit everything out of your head and fix it in editing. I also notice that's the common trend. Word dump, write the genre you know. Don't worry about word count, just word dump it. Do what you gotta do, deal with it in editing. I'm gonna take that advice. I'm just trying to figure out how to film, because I'm learning one thing. You literally have to plan these videos. It's like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You gotta do a whole lot of stuff just to figure out what's happening. And I'm not good with camera angles or stuff like that, but I'm gonna try to get these videos as true to me as possible. So we'll work together in developing the process. How's that sound? And we'll get these stories written, because I really want I want to get to the point that I'm writing the novel. The novel's the point I want to get to. Because it's a kick-ass story, seriously. You're going to love it. But the thing is, I don't want to attempt it until I have it. And also, one thing is, I decided which method am I going to choose. And people say, do the 3R method, do the save the cat method. I decided to go through the third method. I know, because I'm doing this, the third. The Dan Harmon method. Because at the end of the day, who doesn't love Rick and Morty? So I'm going to do the Dan Harmon method of story writing. Beginning, middle, and all that stuff. Because it incorporates save the cat, the snowflake method, and all that nonsense into 8 simple steps of story writing. And I'm going to implement that on a short story, just like I'm writing an episode for Rick and Morty. But I'm going to do that with my stories. Wish me luck. And I know I'm rambling a lot, but what can I do? I'm not a cinematographer. I'm nothing. I'm just an ordinary guy who's going to get in the process of doing stuff. And just so you know, you're going to see some random stuff on this channel. But I'm trying to give content that I feel that people would like. All right? Take care. Bye.